Hey folks, David Stewart here. Today I want to talk about the employee mindset. What it is and why you should release yourself from the employee mindset. So the employee mindset is basically, I worked so many hours, I should get paid so much money. If you are an independent artist, if you are a person who writes books like me, I write lots of books, or records music like me, I record music, and sells those things, you really need to get out of this employee mindset. We're really trained to be employees, not to be entrepreneurs or independent businessmen or that sort of thing. The work ethic and the approach and the mindset for gaining money in a capital sense is not really imparted into Americans, certainly, but I think a lot of people in the West as well. If you think about it, you have to wake up at a certain time in the morning, go to school, you do what the teacher tells you, you receive a grade, you receive an immediate feedback, you basically get payment for your work, you're released at a specific time, you go home, you have to do extra homework for your boss called the teacher, and you repeat that basically forever. You do something, get a reward, do something, get a reward. So I got this when I told people that I basically made like no money my first year publishing books. People were like flabbergasted that I didn't make a lot of money. Meanwhile, they probably weren't buying my books. But anyway, they're like, how did you not make money? It's like, you were probably making no money per hour. So that's the employee mindset, is thinking about, oh, I need to make $15 an hour. Well, eventually I make $15 with no hours of work because I'm receiving return on what I've done. That is to say, what you are engaging in, if you are an independent author or just an author, even if you're doing traditionally published stuff, you are investing into something and you're going to get a return. This is the difference between capital and labor. Most people are trained to be labor, so anything where they're not receiving an immediate return, they're not receiving an immediate wage for their work, seems like a bad trade. And indeed, it can be early on, but if you work at it and you invest in it, then it can produce returns. So the capital sense is, let's say you want to make a product. Well, to make that product, you have to buy a factory or you have to lease a factory. You have to buy the machines that are going to make the product. You have to hire engineers to figure out how that product is going to be manufactured. Maybe that's assuming you designed the original product. You may hire engineers to design the product as well. All those people have to get paid. You hire laborers to make the product, to work the machines, to run, to ship things. There's all these people that get paid before you make a dime. You have put in all of this money. You've invested a bunch of money in buying capital equipment and real estate and those sorts of things. And then once the product goes out and starts being sold, that's when you start making your money. So the richest people are on that capital side. They are making returns on investments that they made and probably didn't get paid much of anything for originally. I know like Jeff Bezos had started Amazon by like shipping books out of his garage and like walking down to the mailbox to mail them. So he started in a very, very humble place and it grew from there. So he wasn't making a lot of money early on, but now he's got basically infinite money to pull on from the value of his company that he's continued to invest in. So that's the way that capital actually makes money. So this is one of those things where it's like the evil capitalist, twirling his mustache because he gets to keep all the profits from the product and the laborers get nothing. The laborers risked nothing. He provided them a job where there was zero risk. All they had to do was show up to work and get a wage. It's a matter of return for risk. You're risking your money when you invest in it. And this is the thing. You see all the entrepreneurs who are successful. What you don't see are the ones who fail. The ones who do all this, they invest their money, they take out loans, they put their whole selves into it. They put everything on the line. They're risking their house. They're spending 80 hours a week pumping up their business, and then they fail. You don't see them because their business is not visible, but it's a risk. There's a risk when you're an entrepreneur. Not everyone is cut out to do this sort of thing. Not everyone is cut out to invest and then hope for a return and have that sort of risk. I do it all the time because I don't know if a book is going to sell. I don't know if people are going to hate it. Sometimes I've had books come out that people just really are not interested in. Other times I've had books come out and people love them. So people really like City of Silver. So it just really depends on the product. And I don't know ahead of time what's going to be good, but I had to invest time to write this. Think about this from an investment perspective, the capital perspective. I had to spend time writing this book. at the word processor writing the book. I had to spend some time designing the cover. But before I did that, I had to invest time learning how to write by writing an original draft of this, writing other books so that I could eventually write a good book. And I've written many books that are good, so you can check those. I've got lots of them. You can check them out. So I had to spend a bunch of time practicing my craft before I could present what I was doing. So that's a lot of hours that I didn't get paid anything for. I got paid $0 for those hours. I was getting paid $0 an hour to do the work. Oh, what a horrible job. I can't, you'd be making more money working at McDonald's. And that's true. But eventually you come out with the book. And even if I have to take a month off from work or something, the book keeps selling. And so money keeps coming in. So I keep having money come in from work I already did. So eventually you cross that $15 threshold if you keep up the investment, you keep the investment cycle up. Eventually, the countless hours that I spent like writing this book, Muramasa Blood Drinker, now I've made a lot more than $15 an hour writing this book because it continues to sell books in 2021 when I published it in 2016. So almost 5 years later, I'm still selling copies of this book. It's still producing return. Even if it's a small amount of return, even if it's a couple copies a month, that's just money that I'm not having to work to get. I'm receiving a return on my investment. And that return can be variable. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little. You don't really have a great idea ahead of time what you're going to get. You're hoping that if you're making a factory, you're going to make a product. You're hoping the product you make, you've done a good job researching the market and the market needs that product, but you're not sure how much they're going to need it, or there's lots of things that are at stake when you are in the capital market. So if you want to be an independent artist, if you want to be a YouTube creator, if you want to do any of the stuff that maybe you see me doing or other people doing successfully, keep in mind it's an investment activity. It's not just a wage earning activity. I've come across lots of people on the channel or interacted with on Twitter or whatever, and they get upset because they're like, I worked all this, I wrote this book and then I spent money on a cover, and by the way, I designed my own cover, so I invested time learning how to design my own cover so I wouldn't have to pay cover artists, right? So I receive a return by doing my own covers because I know that they are, this is a really early cover. This is a later cover that's a lot better. I receive return because I could design my own covers at for high quality and basically low money. That's what I do. So I met tons of people. They spend money on the cover, they spend money editing, and then they put the book out and they're like, where's my money? I thought I would make money from this. Where's my money? I spent all these hours writing this and now I'm not getting any money. It's like, well, there's more to it than that. You have to market it. You probably have to write more than one book. The truth is your first book is not going to be that good, and your first book is also probably not going to sell that well because no one knows who you are. So you have to write more books and you have to promote yourself and you have to do stuff like this. Or people start a YouTube channel and they're like, I made 10 videos and I've only gotten 10 subscribers. It's like, that's 10 people who gave a crap about what you had on YouTube. That's better than 0. Well, how do I get to 100,000? Well, if I knew that, I'd have 100,000. But, it takes time. So you have to keep doing what you're doing. You're investing time and you're not going to receive a return on it until way later. But once you start getting that return going, it has the potential to be a lot more than just $15 an hour. That's the nature of entrepreneurship. So my point is people are trained to think in terms of like, I work hours, I get paid, rather than I'm investing time, energy, money, and I expect a return on the other side of that will sustain me even past the point. So you get a return and then you can spend that extra time while you're getting a return on your first product, developing the next product. That's kind of the capital cycle. So anyway, I thought I would talk about that in the employee mindset. It's something that I think a lot of people need to free themselves from, this idea of having to work for a wage, or that things are not worth doing if you're not receiving some specific payment for it per hour, especially right at the beginning. Eventually that can turn around, but you have to approach it with an investment mindset. You are investing. You are investing in yourself. You're investing in your skills. You're investing your time, energy, and money into creating products that will sell over time and hopefully yield you a return that is makes the investment worth it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Relevant book for this, Keys to Prolific Creativity. This is mostly about work habits. And work habits are important. Lots of people are not independently motivated to do their own work. So developing a good set of work habits, developing good mindsets for producing your work, getting it out on time and under budget, and being able to sell it to people, that is really, really important in this day and age. And a lot of people do not come equipped with this automatically because, like I said, we're born, we go to school, everything about our life is managed until we're 18. It's really hard to become self-motivated to do things. But this, I think, is helpful, and it's a lot of the lessons I've learned really over 20 years in the creative fields as a musician and as an author, figuring out things the hard way, figuring out practice the hard way, those sorts of things. So Keys to Prolific Creativity. I think it's $2.99 for the ebook, and I don't remember how much the paperback is, but it's not that expensive either. Newest fiction books. Of course, you can read Muramasa. That's like everybody's favorite that I did. And I think that's the first book I published, but it's good. If you like samurai stuff, which who doesn't like samurai stuff? Tyrant's Gallow. City of Silver. This is book 1. This is book 2. I don't know if you get book 1 from my mailing list. You hop on my mailing list, dvspress.com/list. You do get a free book, but I'll have book 3 coming out shortly here, hopefully, after some disruptions after the end of 2020. So we'll get that done. People are really enjoying these. These are pretty tight little adventure novel series, and we'll get the third one out here shortly. So check those out, and I will see you guys next time.